Dear participants, Assalamu alaikum. A wonderful day, all of you. Welcome to Institute of Global Professionals platform. Thank you for joining us another live session, free international webinar in IGP. I am Kamrul from Bangladesh. We have successfully completed our 312th webinar. Today I will be Today I will be presenting webinar number 330, and today's topic is Continuous Improvement Program and how. So without delay time, let's welcome our today's speaker. Today we have a powerful speaker from Philippines. Let's welcome our speaker. Hello Sir Jay.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening sir. Good evening sir.
Yes, sir. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. I am Mr. Jeff J. Domingo, proudly from the Philippines, from Lagun DCCL National High School. And for the next few minutes, please bear me with your heart, your mind, your ears as we talk about continuous improvement programs, schools, and how we are going to do it. All right, sir. May I share my screen now, sir?
Yes sir, you can share your screen now.
All right. I think the screen is visible now, sir.
Yes sir, the screen is visible now.
Thank you very much, Sir Camarula. Again, I am Mr. Jeff J. Domingo, Teacher 3 from Login DCCL National High School, Philippines. We will be dealing with continuous improvement programs, schools, and how we are going to do this. Actually, I have read one comment in the Facebook Live saying that they are going to discuss this one in their next seminar. And luckily, we will be having this one. And I hope you will get not something, but everything that I'll be talking about this evening. Once again, welcome to all the participants from all over the world. And it's my pleasure to be with you in this evening. All right. So before we start, I just want to know how are you? Um, how do you feel right now? And can you tell us, to all the participants, can you tell us how are you feeling right now? We know that we are now in the midst of uh, breakthrough of the pandemic. We are now experiencing another outbreak of this virus, and I hope that we are all good this evening, this day actually. Okay, so for this particular session, we will be defining what is continuous improvement. We will be enumerating the steps in AAA method in conducting CI program. Later, you will be knowing what is AAA, and of course, the steps in each in that method. And I hope after this one, you could prepare a concept paper of CI project, which you can use in your station. Most particularly those who are actually having this one um, in the future and in education. This is part of our responsibilities actually. the improvement of our school, the programs that we are doing in our schools. So let's start this one by defining what is CI. Again, CI means continuous improvement. It is a step-by-step approach in solving a problem following the AAA method. There are times in every school year that we are asked to identify the priority improvement areas in our schools. Again, as part of our duties and responsibilities as educators, we have to identify those areas which need to be improved for the benefit of the whole educational community, not only of our students, but of course of our co-teachers and the whole school itself. So CI is dealing with a systematic method or methodology following the so-called AAA method. So what are these AAA method? Actually, I am what I prepared here is you are going to put your answers on the comment box. But I think there is some delay in our Facebook Live. So I'll just have this one. So there you have it. We have assess, analyze, and act. That is why it is called triple A. And each of this A in the triple A method has steps to be followed in order for us to come up with a very effective and efficient school programs. And in continuous improvement, as you can see on the screen, there are 10 steps. Basically, there are 10 steps that we are going to follow systematically in order for us to be able to come up with an effective and efficient program for the improvement of our school processes. And let's have the first A in our triple A method. The first A is assess. As we all know, this means evaluate. This could also be associated with the word evaluate. So in this stage, you have to identify the problem and understand fully what the problem is all about. So this is the very first step in conducting continuous improvement. And since this is the first step, this may be considered as the most important step. Why? Because this is going to be the foundation of your process, of the process that you are going to create as you have your CI. So this is very important. And in this step, you define the objectives of the project and its respective measures from the perspective of the customers. Of course, actually, we are identifying priority improvement based on the perspective of our customers because they are the ones who should be benefited in the programs or projects that we are creating. Because if they will be benefited, this could have a very good effect in the whole educational system, actually. So the first step in the triple A method, which is assess, is get organized. So again, assess, since this is the first level or the first stage, this is very important. Thus, the steps included in this particular level are very important as well. So get organized is the first step in the assess stage of the school improvement or SI project process. In this step, critical school measures related to the division and school agreed targets will be identified and used as reference to assess the school performance. So in this particular step, you have to identify the so-called school measures. You have to understand these school measures. And what are those? These school measures include the following: enrollment rate. Since we are talking about school or school improvement, enrollment rate is one of the school measures, dropout rate as well, attendance of students, cohort survival, graduation rate or the promotion rate, child protection and nutrition, student performance scores, teacher development, SBM accreditation, sufficient infrastructure, and etc. All things that could be relevant to the school processes from the access, governance, and other key results areas that we have in our school. In getting organized, there are tools that we actually use for us to be able to get organized. There are three. The first one is using a project selection criteria. Later po, I think I have the criteria here. Creating a CI project template and establishing the SI project or the school improvement project. So the first one, the criteria. So this are the criteria. Each of the descriptions or characteristics for us to be able to know if that particular project is needed. First, the expected project outputs and or outcomes support the targeted performance indicator or the PI or school measure. So the project that you want to come up, are they parallel, connected, linked to the school measures that we have identified a while ago or the school measures that you have in your school? The project revolves around the improvement of an identified internal school process. The project has outputs and outcomes which are realizable within the 6-month project duration. Please take note of this one. When we are doing the CI, it should be within 6-month project duration because we have to generate solution. We have to um, roll out the solutions that you have had, and we have to monitor that one within the 6-month project duration. And of course, in making your project, you have to think the particular outputs or outcomes that you want to have in that project. Of course, these outputs and outcomes must contribute to the improvement of your clienteles or your customers, your stakeholders, and of course, of your school. Project activities are generally executable and within the control of the project CI team, of course. Actually, these are experienced by many that they are implementing projects, a lot of projects. It's not about how many projects you implement or you have in your school. It's about how you can manage to implement or to have that project to target the objectives of that project. And of course, the project does not require a capital outlay to execute. In making our project, it's a must. It is the um the financial aspect is part of it. It will it is always there, and when you will be coming up with a project, you have to consider that particular aspect, of course. The next one is creating a CI project template. This is actually not standard. It depends on the station that you have, your school, of course, that you have, and this is just what we are using here in the Philippines. The project title, the background, the current state, problem analysis, implementation plan, test results, key learning. These are actually all part of the next steps that we are going to deal with. And we will be dealing with this ones as we go along with our discussion. Third one, establishing the team. Yeah, it is very important to choose. The word is to choose the team the people that you are going to work with, they should have same passion as you have if you will be acting as the team leader of your project, the same enthusiasm as you have, of course the same um, mindset, if I may say, and of course you have to share the same goals, because as a team you have to work as one for you to be able to get the objectives that you are going to set. And in doing or establishing the team, of course, you have your school head, your superior, the one who is leading you. And we have school governing council. Here in the Philippines, we have that one. Those are the support system, one of the support systems that we have in our school. School CI facilitator, school CI trainer, the school improvement team with team leaders or team leader and members, SI team 2, team leader members, SI team 3, team leader and members. Sir, do we have to have three SI team? Actually, it is depending on the situation that you have in your school, or it depends on the number of the priority improvement areas that you have identified. Of course, if there are lots of priority improvement areas, so it is better to have one team in each area for you to be able to focus on one particular area. So that's it. Next step. So we're done with getting organized. You know the problem, you identify the problem, you understand the problem, then you come up with your team. The next one is you have to talk with the stakeholders. And these stakeholders are actually the customers, the clienteles that we are going to, that will be benefiting in the project that we will be coming up with. It is important to understand the stakeholders' needs and expectations. It is truly very important to understand them, what they are saying, what they are feeling. We have to know their stand, their perceptions, the things that they need, the things that they expect, the things that they must get, as well as their perception of whether the process or system is capable of addressing these. The stakeholder may also be a source of improvement ideas or suggestions. Yes, through asking them, through doing a interview with them, a survey with them, through asking them, through getting their perceptions, so we can get a very good ideas or suggestions which will contribute greatly to the improvement of the school processes. The bottom line, of course, they will be benefited with those ideas that or suggestions that they will be giving. There you have. So we have here different kinds of stakeholders. We have the primary stakeholder, our learners, of course. The secondary stakeholders, our parents. Tertiary stakeholders, future employers, government, and those who belong to our educational community, those who are members of our community, they are our tertiary stakeholders. And of course, we have our internal stakeholders, our employees, our teachers, and school personnel, of course. All of those stakeholders, all of them have their own needs, they have their own perceptions, and we have to listen to them, to each one of them. As you can see in our figure here in your screen, this one shows stakeholders have different needs. As the one who is in green says, for a fair selection, everyone has to take the same exam. Please climb the tree. Of course, this is very unfair. And knowing these animals, only one can climb the tree, the monkey. So what does this illustration want to imply? That we have different kinds of stakeholders. They have different characteristics. they have different needs. Of course, we have to give them different solutions. We have to give them different projects. We have to come up different programs for us to address the needs and expectations that they have. All right. The voice of the stakeholders, also known as the voice of the customers, is a qualitative statement or phrase that describes the stakeholders' needs and is worded in stakeholders' language. So there are different ways on how we can get the voice of our stakeholders, the voice of our customers. We could have one-on-one interview. We have the dyads or triads. Dyads, that's two. Triads, three. Then focus group discussion. We have surveys as well. In some of our in some for some teachers here, we are doing this ones actually home visits, but of course with restriction in this particular time, in this particular context that we have, since we have virus. We often do this one home visits wherein we reach our learners, our stakeholders, for us to be able to understand them, to know them, for them to feel that we are what's this that we care for them. Classroom observation for our teachers, our internal stakeholders. Of course, through classroom observations, we can identify the weakness and strengths of our educators, and we can actually put those weaknesses into opportunities for them to improve personally, professionally. Body panels, adult panels, diaries, anecdotal. So those are other ways for us to be able to get the voice of our customers, their needs, their wants, and their expectations. So that is how you are going to talk with the stakeholders. Actually, nowadays, talking to our stakeholders is very important part of the school processes. It's it is vital nowadays because through asking them, through talking with them, we can immediately know the gaps, the limitations that we have in the learning delivery, the school processes that we have. And of course, we can immediately or eventually come up with solution for those limitations. The next step or the third step in assess level is walk the process. What is a process? Set of activities that arrange together or are arranged together in order to deliver a product or service. That is the basic definition of process. A process has different components and inputs that work together in achieving its goals. These are manpower, the CI team per se. Particularly, these are the people who are going to work for you to be able to come up with an effective project. The materials, your learning resources, your equipment, the machine, the tools, and of course the method that you are going to use for you to be able to get or to achieve the goals that you have set in your CI project. In walking the process, we have lots of ways for us to be able to walk the process. The first one is the map the process. Brainstorm action steps. This is within your team. You have to talk with each other. What are you going to do? What would be the first step? What would be the next step? Arrange the step in sequence. You have to identify which one should be done first, the next one, and then the last step. Don't forget to check for missing steps or decision points. There are um, uh, instances that we tend not actually forget, we tend to miss um, uh, one thing in the steps that we are having, and it's very important that we evaluate each step, because as you go along in evaluation your step, you can see that there is something that that is missing. Enumerate the steps. So that is finalization of your steps, and for you to come up with for you to be able to go to the next step in doing your CI. Another one is the SIPOC. This stands for suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and customers. It shows the relevant output of the process and its relevant inputs from the suppliers in order to execute the process. So I have here an illustration. This is very clear illustration in part of educators. Supplier, of course, the teacher, as we are the ones who are going to provide them the inputs, the process, get the outputs for our customers. Our inputs, for instance, the lesson plan, the teacher guide, learner's guide, instructional materials, laptop, and computer, LCD projector, and other learning resources machines that you have. For process, your methods, teaching delivery processes. This includes the preparatory activities, the presentation, the evaluation. Then outputs, grades in science, for instance. Then grade 7 learners, for instance, is your customer or your clientele. Next, this is another important part of um, walk the process. Identify bottlenecks. As you go along or as you walk the process, you will be meeting these bottlenecks or the so-called storm clouds. There you have it. The storm clouds. Storm clouds are those limitations or gaps, problems that you would identify as you go along in every step that you have in your process. As you can see in the illustration, in each process we have there bottlenecks or storm clouds. And these storm clouds are pain points that are observable and relevant to the critical school measure. These are the things that might arise as you do each of the process. They help locate where the issues reside in the current process, what might be the problem in process one or step one, how you can solve that one. They are observable and measurable, of course. This is the fourth step. So we are now in the fourth step in level 1 or assess level. This is identifying priority improvement areas. Again, this is the one that we are using. This has the rubrics, the criteria, the description, and then the scale. And we have there the sample priority improvement areas or the PIA. And this is actually helpful in identifying our PIAs. Of course, again, in every school year, it is part of our duties and responsibilities to know what are the areas to be improved for the next school year and for the benefits of our clientele or customers. And using this one, actually, we can be able to identify those which are in very high priority. And when you identify those in very high priority, then that would be the focus of the projects or the programs that you are going to come up with in your school. This will prevent you to come up with too much project, but at the end of the day, you cannot be able to manage those projects. So using this one, you can identify which one must be addressed immediately with urgency. That's it. So we're done with the first four steps, and we're done with the assess level. And again, this is actually interactive, but then again, I will be flashing it at once. So the first one is, so let's have review. The first step in assess level is get organized. The second one is talk with the stakeholders, our customers, get their perceptions, get their needs. Then we have to walk the process. You have to identify the bottlenecks as you go along in walking the process, and of course identifying priority improvement areas, those areas which need immediate actions. This will prevent you to come up with too much project. And I think the questions must be at the last part or the latter part of our discussion. So let's move on to the next A. So we're done with the first A, assess. Now we have analyze. Analyze stage is focused on investigating and validating the reasons for a well-specified school problem or opportunity. So in assess level, we have identified the problem. We define our problem. In analyze, we will be able to understand deeply the problems that we have identified. Of course, through the steps that we have in analyze stage, we would like to generate appropriate solutions that address the requirements of the various stakeholders of the school. And through analyzing or through the steps in analyze stage, we can identify those. All right. So in analyze stage, we have three steps: do root cause analysis, develop solutions, and finalize the improvement plans. In doing the root cause analysis, the most common way to do it is the YY diagram. As you can see there, the YY. So this one is actually answering the main cause, main root cause of the problem that you have identified. It is the deepest underlying cause or causes of problematic symptoms within any process. So in step one, it is not enough that you have identified and understand the problem. In analyzing it, in doing root cause analysis, of course, you can deeply understand the underlying cause from that particular or of that particular problem. And that is root cause analysis. If dissolved, would result in elimination or substantial reduction of the symptoms. So, in doing root cause analysis, we can identify those problems connected to the main problem, and then we can identify which one must be addressed immediately. That is root cause analysis. So as you can see in the illustration, so we have the width above the surface. It is obvious. Those are symptom of the problem, the problems that we can always see um, using our observation, mere observation. And when we analyze, we can see that underlying causes, the root below the surface, the not obvious causes are the main problem that we have to address. In doing your root cause, you have to avoid missing link between causes. For instance, students are unable to correctly follow test instructions. Why? Test instructions are long. Is that correct? I mean, is that proper that because the test instructions are long, the students are unable to correctly follow test instructions? Is that the real problem? So it is missing link. The problem is not, the identified problem is not really the problem of the obvious problem that you have. The next one, focusing on the who, not on the why. It is okay to focus on the who if that is the real problem or it is the immediate problem that we have. However, in doing root cause analysis, it is more on why. We have to answer more why questions. For instance, students are unable to correctly follow test instructions. The other cause, students do not understand the instruction. So that is who. Then the root cause, teachers are incompetent in giving instructions to students. Of course, that is. I think we will not agree, teachers, to this one, of course. Copying of assignments take more than 10 minutes. The cause, students are slow in writing. So that's again who. Then root cause, students are unskilled in writing. Of course, it is not this one. This is focusing on who. But if you will be analyzing this one, there will be why in this particular problem. So this is not the root cause already. There is still root cause of this particular problem. That is how you're going to do root cause analysis. So this is an example using the YY diagram. So I have here particular objective. Then we have identified problems, three problems. Then cause for each problem. Then we have in blue ones the root causes. So insufficient reading practice, do not have time to practice at home. That's one cause. Limited time of practice during English class. Then no available reading materials at home. So this would be the root cause of this particular problem. Lack of interest, little exposure to long and difficult words, that is particularly in vocabulary. Poor vocabulary, poor comprehension, that would be the root cause. Unsupportive environment of students, lack of attention and guidance from teachers. Teachers were not able to give enhancement activity. So as you can see, um, in doing root cause analysis, you have to identify first this problem, the cause of this problem, and of course the root cause of the problems that you have identified. So that is root cause analysis. The next step is generating solutions. Now that you have identified the root cause of the problem that you have defined in your first step, you have to generate solutions. Solutions should address the red boxes in your root cause analysis. Of course, the solutions must be connected, must jive, must parallel, must be associated with these root causes. Develop the proposed process in generating solutions. You have to develop the process, the proposed process that you have with your team. Complete components using Gantt chart, the potential problem analysis, the MNE or monitoring and evaluation, stakeholders assessment or plan, or um, the components that you have in your school or in your station. Consistency of solution, formulation matrix with validation table. So these are some things that we have to um always remember in generating solutions. Actually, Gantt chart is very important because this one will guide you on how you are going to do your proposed processes. And of course, MNE, the monitoring and evaluation. Setting up objectives is the first step in any solution development process. These objectives have to be set first before alternative solutions are generated. Of course, you have to put on the table first the things that you want to achieve, your goal, the goal of your project, the goal of your program, and through identifying or having your goal, you have to think of the solutions related to the problems that you have identified for you to be able that objectives or those objectives that you have set. It helps to have a SMART objective. I believe we are all familiar with this one. SMART, not GLOBE. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. What do you want to do specifically? What particular improvement you want to see in your clienteles, in your customers? How will you know when you reach it? Do you have your tool attainable? Is it in your power to accomplish it? Does the team have the means to attain it? Realistic, of course, you have to consider the context, the context, the real situations that you have, the environment, and the likes. Time bound. When exactly do you want to accomplish it? Of course, as what we have discussed a while ago, 6 month project implementation, project duration, of course. Avoid globe, general, loose, obsolete, big words, elastic. This is an example of objective which is SMART. So, sample objective statement to increase the MPS mean percentage score in English from a range of 49.88 to 53.96 in 1 year. So, it is very specific. There you have the target. It is time bound course, and I believe this is realistic. Of course, it is measurable using tools that the team have. And another example to improve the reading comprehension of 64 grade 7 prestation readers from 40% MPS to 50% in 3 months. So again, this is a SMART objective. Third step. So we do the root cause analysis. We have generated the solution. We have generated the solutions. Now we have to finalize the improvement plan. So in the fourth step of your assess level, we have identified the priority improvement areas. Now, in the third step of analyze, we have to finalize the improvement plan based on the priority improvement areas that you have identified in the first step. So, finalizing improvement plan is planning for implementation. So, as you understand it, it is somehow going to the implementation phase already. Implementation plan is the process of defining and refining tasks and resources required to implement the solution. So this is the part of the improvement plan that we are using. The activity, target output, the timeline, persons responsible or involved, the resources needed. And I have your example actually. School improvement project title. This is the priority improvement area. High number of students who are identified frustrated in their reading level. So this is the project. Actually, I am very proud to present to you this one. Project BRB4 of Schools Division Office of Rizal. And this is a very good project which aim to make Rizal Province a reading province because this is really addressing the problem in reading in our division here in Rizal. To decrease the number of readers under frustration level, so this is output of the year. The activities to be included in your improvement plan, the persons involved, um, schedule or venue, the budget, and where you will be getting that budget or the resources. So there you have it. So we are done we are done with the second level or second stage, which is analyze, and we've discussed the three steps included in analyze stage, and these are: step one, do root cause analysis. This is understanding more deeply the identified problems, the defined problems in assess level or assess stage. Generating solutions. This is the step wherein you have to set your objectives and generate the solutions based on the problems that you have identified. And of course, finalize the improvement plan. And again, the question would be on the next part of our discussion. So let's move on to the last stage, the last A in triple A. So we are done with assess, we are done with analyze. Now we have act. From the word itself, of course, this would be the implementation stage. So this is the stage wherein you are going to focus on testing the agreed ideas through a pilot. Pilot means testing. You are involving participants based on your way of choosing them. The results of the test are compared to the previous results. Change management plans are created in preparation for deployment of the verified solution to the entire school. So these are the things that you are going to do in ACT stage. Through doing these three steps, so the first one is pilot your solution. So this is testing your solution. Again, why do we have to test our solutions? The solutions that we have generated, the solutions that we have had based on the objectives that we have set. Improve the solution, of course. Once you pilot it, once you test it, you will identify the weakness, and through identifying the weaknesses, we can turn that into opportunities, and eventually make it strength of your project. Understand the risks, the bottlenecks, the storm clouds, those things that you did not see as you plan your project or your program. When once you pilot it or test it, of course, you can observe, you can see um, clearly what are the risks in those steps that you have. Validate expected results. Are the results uh, does the result convey improvement, or does it not give improvement at all? Smooth implementation, of course, if you will be doing the rollout in your whole school, since you have tested it already, you will be implementing it smoothly. Facilitate buy-in, identify previously unknown performance problems and other limitations that you may identify, you may observe as you go along in your pilot testing. When to test solutions, you need to confirm the expected results and practicality of the solution. That when you need to identify, to know, to understand if the results that you are expecting would be the results that you will be getting as you pilot your solution. You want to reduce the risk of failure. Of course, you have to you will be knowing what are those limitations that may cause to failure of your program. The scope of the change is large, and reversing the change would be difficult. So if you will not pilot test or test your solution, you as you have the rollout, as you implement it to the whole school, to your whole school with big clienteles, of course, it would be hard for you to do the changes. Implementing the change will be costly, yeah. And then changes would have far-reaching unforeseen consequences. So it's very important for us to test the solutions that we have generated. The objectives, for us to be able, if these solutions are really getting the goals that we have set. The key message of this step is you have to monitor and manage the implementation of your solution. Yeah, M&E, monitoring and evaluation, managing the processes that you have, the solutions that you have as you are going to implement your program. Through this pilot testing, you can have those monitoring and managing. Then, in order to assess whether the solution can provide the desired results, of course, always remember that once we came up with program, we always want to get, of course, the target solution, target results, or the desired results that we have from the first step or the first level that we have. Then, of course, the roll out your solution. In this stage, we have to prepare the resources, identify correct people, obtain stakeholder support, and train people, because this is you have to implement it with a bigger stage, bigger environment with bigger clienteles. We should also be able to standardize the implementation and monitor the performance measures to manage the implementation of solutions. You have to set in your SI team or CI team the things that you have to have. You needed that you need in order for you to monitor your implementation from the first up to the last phase of your implementation. The next one, the last stage, I believe, among the 10 stages, the check progress. In this step, you need to do two major activities: checking and evaluating. Checking means referring back to the measures that you are interested with and be able to compare the before and after intervention results. That is merely do I did I do the teams or do the members effectively implement this step? Does the team target the objective? That is checking. On the other hand, evaluating means comparing the results to the intended benefits of your solutions to the identified measures. So in this time, you have to know if the the results or the outputs that you have targeted are actually um, uh, the results that you have that you have set that you want to get when you come up with that particular project. The things that you have to check are the results, of course, gather data on the same measures identified in assess stage, use the same data collection procedures. Of course, what are the things that you use in the very first stage are the things that you have to use in the last stage for you to be able to get accurate and precise results that you want to have as you do your program or project. The methods document what steps are followed and of course those which are not followed during implementation. Again, doing this one will let you know what are the things that you have to improve, what are the things that you have to omit, the things that you have to change for the improvement of your implementation. Then what to evaluate? For the results, how much was the gap between desired and actual reduced? Were the plans effective in addressing the causes you targeted? What do customers tell you now that the changes are in place? Has enough progress been made, or do you need to go back and try the other solutions? Were there unintended benefits or negative side effects? These are all connected with the results or the outcome that you will be getting as you implemented your project or your program. For methods, did you follow your plan? Or the steps being followed? The are the processes or the steps in your improvement plan are being followed? Did you need to modify the plan solution during implementation? Do you have to omit this one? Do you have to improve this one? To change this one? Then what would you do differently next time around? So check progress is basically um part of the monitoring and evaluation wherein you have to monitor as you go along with the implementation. You have to monitor the implementation itself, and when you reach the last part of your phase of your implementation, you have to check and evaluate the things that you have done in your continuous improvement program. So there you have it. I think this would be the summary of the things that I have discussed with regard to continuous improvement program. And as a short recap, these are the 10 steps which are involved in the triple A method. The first A, again, we have assess. The next is we have analyze. And the last one is act. Under the assess stage or level, we have get organized, talk with your stakeholders, walk the process, and identify priority improvement areas. Next is the analyze stage, which include do root cause analysis, generate solutions, and finalize improvement plan. The last stage, which is act, include the following: pilot your solution, roll out your solution, and check the progress. And if you will be following this steps systematically, I believe you will be coming up with effective and efficient project, which will benefit all your customers, which will lead to the improvement of the whole educational community. And I want to end this one with this favorite quote of mine: "Just a job you love, and you will never have to work a day in your life." A very please have a very wonderful and great day, everyone. Thank you, and good evening, good morning, and good afternoon to all of you.
Thank you, Sir Jeb, for your outstanding presentation. I hope our participants are enjoy your presentation. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Meet together a after quiz competition in our question and answer session. Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Dear participant, after a short video clips, we move to our quiz competition. 'Dear participants, today our quiz code is IGP quiz. IGP quiz. Top 10 participant will get a quiz certificate, so don't hesitate to join with us. 34 participants already joined with us. The quiz link will already given in our comment box. After a few moments, we start our quiz competition. We start our quiz competition. Our first question is implementation plan is the process of defining and refining tasks and resources required to implement the solution. Is it true or false? It is 3% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. In the leaderboard, Aigal is leading the first position, and the following Firoz Akbar or Farida Rajahi. Our second question is Why Dragon is not used in doing root cause analysis? Is it true or false? 85% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is false. Let's check our leaderboard. In the leaderboard, Elias Astray is leading the first position. Our next question is SIPOC stands for Suppliers in Fruit Process Outputs and Customers. Is it true or false? 85% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. Elias Astrea is also leading the first position. Our next question is testing the solution improves the identified solution itself. Is it true or false? 83% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. Now, Danish Gulto is leading the first position. And the following is Austria Eagle. Our fifth question is rollout solution is the second step in act stage. Is it true or false? 75% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. Iger also leading the first position. Our next question is in check progress step, you need to do two major activities checking and evaluating. Is it true or false? 98% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. In the leaderboard, Apple is also leading the first position. Our next question is the first step in CIP is get organized. Is it true or false? 81% of our participants gave the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. In the leaderboard, Eagle is also leading the first position. Our next question is storm clouds are measurable and observable. Is it true or false? 72% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. Our next question is in check progress step, you need to do two major activities checking and evaluating. Is it true or false? 96% of our participants give the correct answer, and the correct answer is true. Our last and final question is evaluating means referring back to the measures that you are interested with and be able to compare the before and the after invention result. Is it true or false? 4% of our participants gave the correct answer, and the correct answer is false. Congratulations our top 10 participants. Michael is leading the first position, also following Maribik, Firoz Akbarar, Melinda, Liv, Fakunla. Thank you, our participants. After a short video clips, we start our question and answer session. Hello, sir.
Hello, Sir Kamrul. Hello.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Hello, sir. Good evening,
Dear
sir.
participant, it's question and answer session. You can send your question in our comment section and make sure to put it one by one so that the speaker would understand it well. Dear participants are requested to ask their question in comment box. Dear participants, you can send your question in our comment section and make sure to put it one by one so that the speaker would understand it well. So our first question from Donoxin. The question is how often should the science implementation be carried out during continuous improvement program?
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. Our first question is how often should the science implementation be carried out during continuous improvement program?
All right, sir. I think this is a very good question. Actually, sir, if we are going to talk about continuous improvement from the word itself, continuous, it is a program in your school, particularly in your school, which will be carried out continuously. And of course, this has a goal of targeting or achieving the goal that you have set from the very first step that you have. So, to answer the question, how often should the change implementation be carried out? If you are pertaining to the changes that you are going to do as you go along the implementation, of course, as you do the monitoring and evaluation, you will be identifying the things that you have to improve, the things that you have changed in your implementation itself. And of course, as you have monitored and evaluated the implementation and you identified those things that should be changed, of course, you have to immediately apply those changes that you want to apply in your implementation.
Thank you, sir. Dear participant, we are waiting for our next question. If you have any questions, please post it on our comment section. We are waiting for our next question. Participants are requested to ask their question in comment box. Don't hesitate to ask the question. Our next question also from Donoxin. Who can be the stockholders?
All right. Our stakeholders actually vary depending on the characteristics that they have. Based on the discussion that we have a while ago, we have the so-called primary, secondary, and tertiary stakeholders, and of course, our internal stakeholders. If you want to know who among those stakeholders should be part of the program that you have to create in your school. Of course, those who are in need of based on the identification of priority improvement areas. Again, the PIA is actually one of the ways for us to be able to know which gap, limitation, or problem we have to immediately address. And if we identify that particular gap or problem to be addressed, of course, we can identify, of course, the stakeholders who will be um, included in the program that you will be creating.
Thank you, sir. Our next question from Dr. Rajesh. How to analyze the progress occur?
All right, thank you for this question. How to analyze the progress occurred? We have the so-called MNE, the monitoring and evaluation. It is actually depending on the SI team or the CI team on how you are going to craft or to create your monitoring and evaluation tool. This monitoring and evaluation tool is the instrument that we are going to use for us to be able to monitor and to evaluate the whole implementation phase of your program. And through using that particular instrument, you can check the progress, and actually not only the progress, the problems that may arise, because it is again part of your monitoring and evaluation.
Thank you, sir. Our next question from Christina. In your experience, sir, were there a time that after the CIP objectives were not met, would that still be acceptable?
All right. I think this one is a very tricky question. Yet I am very willing to answer this one. Yes, of course, there are times that when we are doing the CI program or the continuous improvement program or any program in our school, there would be time that you will be realizing that you did not meet the objective that you have set. Again, it is I want to reiterate the importance of following the step when we are doing the CIP. Because if you will be following the steps in doing the CIP, in when you are piloting or when you do the pilot testing of your solution, in that case or in that particular step, you will eventually or immediately see or observe the things that are not aligned. So if you have observed that that way, of course, there will be changes that you have to do in your process. And that is the importance of following the step in each level of the AAA method.
Thank you, sir. Our next question is, how are you going to identify or define the problem in step 1 of the access stage?
All right. So here in our school, we have the so-called gap analysis. This is again another tool, another instrument for us to be able to identify those limitations or gaps or the problems that we call in the school processes. And I think that is one way for us to be able to identify or define the problem in step one. Another one is observation. And yeah, through observation, you yourselves can identify the existing problems within your educational community, and as you go along the process, you would be able to redefine it to do the uh, deeper understanding of it, and you can identify which one should be addressed.
Our next question from Ruby Robles. Based on your experience, what is the hardest part or problem and cause of CI implementation?
Thank you for this question, Ma'am Ruby. Gonzalez. She is my co-teacher, and I am very willing to answer this one. Maybe because she knows that I am part of every project that we have in our school. And to answer your question, my madam, what is the hardest part or problems encountered of CI implementation? I think that is for me. That is doing it with the wrong people. That is why it's very important that when you get organized, the very first step, when you get organized, you have to choose. You have to really choose wisely who are those people you are going to work with. As what I have said a while ago, you have similar mindset, you have the same goal, you have same enthusiasm, you have same characteristics, which will lead you to your target objectives. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Our next question from also Dr. Rajesh. Who should be external stakeholders?
External stakeholders are those members of our community. those industries, the immediate industries within our school community, those people in the government that they are considered as our stakeholders, the officials, the local officials, the national officials, they may be called as external stakeholders.
Our next question from Ronoxin. From where can we get resource in rollout solution and what kind of resources there are?
All right. When we are talking about resources, this could be the people themselves involved in the program, and of course the materials, the equipment, the tools, the machines. Basically, these are actually for the schools who have enough financial aspect. They could have provide the materials like laptop, desktop, printer, and the likes for them to use during the entire implementation of the program. And if for those who do not have this one, this would the role of our external stakeholders would come. It is very important that should as what I have said in the act stage, we should team up with our external stakeholders because we can get aid from them. They could help us in implementing our programs. They can provide us assistance for us to be able to achieve the goal that we have in our program.
Thank you, sir. Our next question from Ronoxin. What does the smooth implementation mean?
All right, smooth implementation. You can have that one as you have your pilot testing. Smooth implementation, of course, meaning to say when you pilot test when you tested your solution, you can identify at once what are the things which should be avoided, what are the things which must be retained, which what are the things which must be improved, and by identifying those, you can now have in your rollout a smooth implementation. That is the meaning of a smooth implementation. You may avoid those problems that might arise as you do the rollout.
Our next question is which is the most crucial step from among the 10 steps in CIP?
For me, I think that is the pilot testing. Pilot testing is the most crucial because in this step, you have to um, do the process that you have set within your team, and through pilot testing, you would be dealing with the problems that will be arising. And of course, once you have those problems which might arise as you implement or as you do your pilot testing, you have to change the yeah the steps or the process itself.
Thank you, sir. We have lots of compliment from Donoxin. Thank you, sir, for your answer. Norshia also thank you, sir. From Alex, thank you, sir. I learned a lot. Thank you so much, Sir Jeff. Thank you so much. Happy New Year. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Dear participants, thank you for joining with us. Today's certificate. Thank you, sir, for your outstanding marvelous presentation. We are grateful to you and thank you from IGP for your valuable time.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you to all the participants. It is such an honor to be with you this day, this night, and I hope to see you soon again. And thank you very much. And I also learned a lot from you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, if you have any comment for our participant, please share it.
Thank you very much for all the participants who eagerly participated in our discussion. I can see that they really want to learn from me, and I am very proud of that. It makes me flattered, and I hope that you gained not something, but you gained everything that I have discussed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your excellent presentation. We hope we will meet together in another session in IGP. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Dear participant, today's certification code is IGP0105. Today's program name is Continuous Improvement Program, and the code is IGP0105.